Howdy. An unconfirmed quake near Rhine, North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany, magnitude 3.0 2 hours ago. Unconfirmed. One user report. Let's check it out. War im oberen Stockwerk des Hauses, dauerte ca. 3 Sekunden, hat etwas gewackelt. He was upstairs and it lasted for some 3 seconds. Everything was shaking. Do they tell us anything more about this quake? It's a quite densely populated area. Reported seismic-like event. Likely no quake. So what is it then? Disregarded quake record. Depth unknown, unconfirmed event. Magnitude unknown. 3. Status disregarded. 1 report. Nearest volcano Lager See, Lager Lake, 160 kilometers. Let's go over to England. Looks boring, but earlier this day it wasn't. I made a screenshot. 8:20 in the morning, so this happened in the night, unconfirmed, near London, Angleterre, United Kingdom, magnitude 3, 21 hours ago. So that's London, and then Oxford. I had to turn around the map in order to get this Oxford visible, because otherwise this thing would have been on top of it. Magnitude 3, 15 hours ago, unconfirmed, near Reading, England, United Kingdom. It wasn't possible to click on this. Nothing happened. On both. And both are unconfirmed. As is this one. Unconfirmed. Magnitude 3. 21 hours ago. 15 hours ago. So they didn't happen simultaneously. Both are magnitude 3, as the one in Germany, unconfirmed, magnitude 3. So we are in Oxford, and there's Oxford English and all kinds of stuff. All kind of stuff which got even taught in schools. Uniformitarianism, also known as the doctrine of uniformity or the uniformitarian principle, is the assumption that the same natural laws and processes that operate in our present-day scientific observations have always operated in the universe in the past and apply everywhere in the universe. It refers to invariance and the metaphysical principles underpinning science, such as the constancy of cause and effect throughout space-time, but also being used to describe spatio-temporal invariance of physical laws. Though an unprovable postulate that cannot be verified using the scientific method, some consider that uniformitarianism should be a required first principle in scientific research. Other scientists disagree and consider that nature is not absolutely uniform, even though it does exhibit certain regularities. In geology, uniformitarianism has included the gradualistic concept that the present is the key to the past, and the geological events occur at the same rate as now. at the same rate now as they have always done, though many modern geologists no longer hold to a strict gradualism. Coined by William Whewell, it was originally proposed, in contrast to catastrophism, by British naturalists in the late 18th century, starting with the work of the geologist James Hutton in his many books, including Theory of the Earth. Hutton's work was later refined by scientists on Playfair and popularized by geologist Charles Lyell's Principles of Geology in 1830. Today, Earth's history is considered to have been a slow, gradual process punctuated by occasional natural catastrophic events. 18th century. The earlier conceptions likely had little influence on 18th century's European geological explanation for the formation of Earth. Abraham Gottlob Werner proposed Neptunism, where strata represented deposits from shrinking seas precipitated onto primordial rocks such as granite. In 1785, James Hutton proposed an opposing self-maintaining infinite cycle based on natural history and not the biblical account. The solid parts of the present land appear in general to have been composed of the production of the sea and of other materials similar to those now found upon the shores. Hence, we find a reason to conclude. First, the land on which we rest is not simple and original, but that it is a composition and had been formed by the operation of second causes. Second, that before the present land was made, there had subsisted a world composed of sea and land, in which were tides and currents, which with such operations at the bottom of the sea as now take place. And, lastly, that while the present land was forming at the bottom of the ocean, the former land maintained plants and animals. At least the sea was then inhabited by animals in a similar manner as it is present today. Hence, we are led to conclude that the greater part of our land, if not the whole, had been produced by operations natural to this globe, but that in order to make this land a permanent body, resisting the operations of the waters, two things had been required. First, the consolidation of masses formed by collections of loose or incoherent materials. Second, the elevation of those consolidated masses from the bottom of the sea, the place where they were collected, to the stations in which they now remain above the level of the ocean. Hutton then sought evidence to support his idea that there must have been repeated cycles, each involving deposition on the seabed, uplift with tilting and erosion, and then moving undersea again for further layers to be deposited. At Glen Tilt in the Cairngorm Mountains, he found granite-penetrating metamorphic schists, in a way which indicated to him that the presumed primordial rock had been molten after the strata had formed. He had read about angular unconformities as interpreted by Neptunists and found an unconformity at Jedburgh, where layers of grey wacke in the lower layers of the cliff face have been tilted almost vertically before eroded to form a level plain. Under horizontal layers of old red sandstone. In the spring of 1788, he took a boat trip along the Brickwickshire coast with John Playfair and the geologist Sir James Hall, and found a dramatic unconformity showing the same sequence of Sicker Point at Sicker Point. Playfair later recalled that the mind seemed to grow giddy by looking so far into the abyss of time, and Hutton concluded in a 1788 paper, he presented at the Royal Society of Edinburgh, later rewritten as a book with the phrase, "We find no prestige of a beginning, no prospect of an end. So you can make further reading on that, but it's quite British to assume that nothing ever changes, as now, as it has been in the past and will be in the future. Maybe some of the British people will think, yeah, now the Queen is gone, so something has really changed. A change of a big magnitude, at least for many British people, I guess. But anyway, we are moving into better times. Everything gets digitalized. Digitalized. Your money, your thoughts, everything. That's news from Switzerland. Higher electricity consumption than Finland. Should Switzerland ban bitcoins? A single bitcoin transaction consumes about the same amount of electricity as a household does in 1.5 months. The Greens now want to regulate bitcoin more closely. The industry is fighting back. Yeah. What a situation. Everybody, almost all people which think they are advanced, they try to get everything digitalized. But they don't realize that one thing which cannot be digitalized is the food you eat. And if you don't own something with real value, you probably don't have the possibility to make an exchange in any way. So if you have this kind of digital money stuff, like Bitcoin, and there are many others, or if you are following tax markets, I don't know how much energy those tax markets need, like Tokyo or Paris, London, New York, or whatever they are. What do? They have, I assume, a very, very big electricity bill, because they are running thousands of computers and screens and lights and air conditioning and coffee machines and all this kind of stuff. Maybe it gets soon too expensive to keep something like this in place. Global tax markets got shut down because there's no electricity. This would be very interesting news. So now they are thinking in Switzerland that should they ban bitcoins because they use as much energy as the whole country of Finland. Very interesting. How many bitcoins the Vatican owns? I don't know. Do they have any? Did they have, and they just bought gold and now they bring it home before there's no Bitcoin anymore? Because it's too expensive. You need electricity for that. If there's no electricity, there's no Bitcoin anymore. So you won't buy anything with Bitcoins, not even food. But anyway, I tried to put a link below. Somehow this article vanished. I didn't find it anymore after taking a screenshot. I made Google translate it for me. So we have now at least three unconfirmed magnitude 3 quakes in Europe, Germany and England. Let's see how long the Germany thing is there in the internet. Maybe it will vanish. It will vanish too, because I was to make a video about those quakes in England. And I went just to check something in the Alps, and when I went back to England, they were already gone. So I don't know how long they have been there. But before I went off there and I realized that you cannot click on them. You don't get any further knowledge or information about these quakes in England. Nothing happens when you click on that. Usually you can watch reports and these kind of things, but there wasn't any possibility. So I took screenshots. And afterwards, it was probably a good thing to do so because they have vanished. Nothing to see in Britain. Haha. Now it's gone too. Really? Just when I went back, it was still there and then it vanished. Yeah, it vanished. Gone. Third, unconfirmed quake. 2 here and 1 here, and all 3 of them have gone. What a coincidence. Well, anyway, I leave it here. Thanks. Bye.